the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, allow me to ride on the protocols that have been established. Mr. President, I saw you admiring my macadamia farm, so I will not take long, so that if I do get a chance, you may walk around the farm. We have 10 acres of coffee, and we have 800 trees of macadamia out there. I have been very strong, but this morning I woke up feeling a bit weak, but I believe that I'll be able to go through my tribute. Sorry, I'm sure many of you are suffering what I'm suffering. We had a lot of dust yesterday. It's been a bit dry, but I've been taking a lot of hot water, so I encourage you to do that, because today I may have lost my voice. Beside me here is my sister, Lucy Muvera, and allow me, Your Excellency, just to call people forward. They will not speak. I just want them to come forward, and that is the team of chair, the team that took care of the chairman. They called him chairman. It's okay. Where is Langat, Ken? Please, wherever you are, quickly come forward as I proceed. Mwangi, Wamukoya, you know yourselves, Eliza, Andrew, and as they come forward, please allow Eric Wakili Nyongesa and the team of lawyers led by Ngumo, Wakili Ngumbo, just to come forward. You will not be speaking. And also Amanda, my cousin. Yeah, please come forward. As you come forward, just one verse that we used to like singing with the chairman in his last days. That is the team that was taking care of him. Choir, if you can assist me. Oh, where are they? But we can just sing. We give all the glory to Jesus. Ruben, maybe you can assist me now that I have no voice of my own. We give all the glory to Jesus. And tell of his love, and tell of his love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his wonderful love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his love, his wonderful love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his wonderful love.
Na Yesu apewe wokovu, tangaza neno, tangaza neno. Na Yesu apewe wokovu, tangaza upendo wake.
Thank you very much. Before you hear, if I can start with Eric, please step forward. Eric, he will, I believe, speak later. Other than being the chair of this committee, has been very, very supportive. Very many lawyers have been supporting. They would call in, but Eric, Kutz, please come forward. Kutz, my brother. Eric and Kutz, I used to play them a trick. Whenever they would say, can we come and see the chairman? Professor Gulie, please come forward. Commissioner Molu, the three musketeers. We used to call them the three musketeers, please. And Marjan, CPA. I call him CPA Marjan, the CEO. Your Excellency, this team were almost every other day on the chairman's case. So Eric and Kutz, my brother Kutz Otolo, step forward. That's my eldest brother. He spoke here earlier. They would, whenever they wanted to come, I would always make sure they come at lunchtime. So I would always tell them the best time to visit Chair is at 12:30. I don't know whether they knew that my trick was to ensure they have chicken with him at lunchtime. And it worked, because then they would see it and cheer up with him. Eric, you could step aside. Professor Gulie and Marjan and Commissioner Molu. Commissioner Molu appeared to have been the spokesman, because every time Commissioner Molu called and made an inquiry about the chairman, immediately I would be told, get a response from CPA Marjan and Professor Gulie. It would be like it's a follow-up. So they never used to let me know when they are coming. They would wait when they are at Galleria, when they're just very near the home, and they would say, we are on our way. Of course, I couldn't stop him. So they only got off with a cup of tea and samosas whenever they visited. Thank you very much for what you've done for the chairman. In fact, I think they were the last people to see the chairman. It was late in the evening before he passed on. Let me have the Wakili Ngumbo and your team. They will quickly just introduce themselves. Maybe you could just quickly stand here.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and all excellencies present, my name is George Murugu, advocate.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, all dignitaries present, the Church, fellow mourners, good afternoon. My name is Eric Gumbo. Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocol observed. My name is Edwin Mukele. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Thank you very much. The late Mtuba was also this team. So, Your Excellency, when I was not able to get some immediate assistance from you, this is the team that came and stood very, very strongly and ensured that we would travel to Germany, go in shifts. The children would go in shifts. I'd also like Amanda. Amanda, please step forward. Amanda is my first cousin. Her mother is named Rachel. Rachel was named after her mother. And she was always with the chairman. I think she knows more stories about him than I do, because they used to have a lot of discussion sitting out there in the garden. Thank you, Amanda. And that made it very easy to have the eulogy. It came out in a day of his passing. This other team, step forward. I don't see Ken here. This team, God bless them. Langat, step forward. Langat came in as a casual and eventually was trained to be our worker. He was literally almost the right hand of the chairman. They used to chat together, and when we felt the nurses were not giving us the best of treatment, Langat was trained and he literally took care of the chairman. The chairman loved him, and today him and Chris stepped forward. Chris came, and my mother used to sponsor Chris as a student, but when my mom passed on, I took over his sponsorship until he finished Form 4. His English was not the best, but after they started with chairman and got a lot of training, he used to text me and I wondered what had happened. So I asked him, Chris, what happened? Your English has really improved. He told me chairman always tells him, if you want to speak to me, speak English. Don't just be making sentences. So with time, he came to learn very good English and makes very good sentences, including Langat. Andrew, please step forward. Andrew is the younger brother to the chairman, and they live in Nairobi. Andrew and his wife, and in fact his child Gift was one of the last people that on a Saturday, Gift was the last person to speak with chairman because he wanted to have a swim in the swimming pool, and the chairman said, no, you can't unless you have a swimming costume. So he said he was going to rush home to get a swimming costume to be able to swim. The following day is when Emmanuel came and visited him with the kofia that he has mentioned, the bull kofia. And that is when chairman was in full conversation. That time he was really conversing and engaging. So Andrew, thank you very much. He's also a pastor. Then I have Eliza. Eliza is the youngest and the last born, and was been very, very supportive. Every moment she had, that moment was for her brother. She took care of her brother on behalf of the other siblings, whom I believe you will have a chance to see. Thank you very much, Eliza. Next are these two gentlemen. Mwangi, step forward, and Wamukoya, step forward. These are the aides. I had them at aides, but they were very much there for the chairman. Everywhere I went with the chairman, they were there with us. So this team that is here, thank you very much. May God bless you. Telling it to me like that, and they said yes. Then I said, is that what it means to be a next of kin? That you can be called any time of day or night? And that is when I actually, it occurred to me, when you are ready to be a next of kin, then be ready for such shocks. And it reminded me that all these years, when I stood before at Mariakani Christian Center, as you will see in my tribute, when we walked down the aisle with this handsome man that is lying there, when we walked down the aisle, I said, in sickness and in health. I didn't understand the meaning of those words until death did us part. So when you make those vows, just know they are not for the sake of it. Because my husband, I stood with him in sickness and in health. You heard the stories of health. We enjoyed a lot of golf. In sickness, it has been almost 2 years since that day that he was diagnosed with GBM. I will not read my entire tribute. I will interject it once in a while. But I start by saying the formal journey between you, my darling, and I began on the 21st of April 1990 when we solemnized our marriage at Mariakani Christian Center. But our story started long before that. I first met you when I was attending a training sponsored by the National Treasury in Mombasa, 1988. You were then running your law firm, Wanyonyi and Company Advocates. I will fast forward on my tribute and remember that because some of the things which have already been said, I will not repeat them. I remember when you ran for the MP seat in Sabata. Saboti, sorry. I said Sabata because Rachel said Sabata. In Saboti, Trans Nzoia. You were adamant that I accompany you to the campaign rallies, but I resisted, wanting to focus on our young children, the young family, while also managing my job because I was a public I was working in the public sector in the Coast Province. You didn't want to hear about it. You wanted me by your side during the campaigns. I didn't understand why, but over time I realized that while you needed my support in your public life, you were also committed to ensuring that I was never in harm's way. We lost the election, as Rachel says, and when we lost the election, the commissioner didn't allow the results to be tallied. when we went to the hall after elections, when he kept on realizing that our form, the agents form 30, that time they were calling them 16A and B, that our 16A was different from their own 16A, and we had the agents who had signed. What happened is he realized there seemed to be a difference and a divergence in the results. So he suspended the tallying and he said, go home. We shall notify you when to come back. Indeed, we were notified to go back around 2 a.m. When we went back, the tallying did not continue. He simply announced the result. Of course, we had lost with a very small margin. My husband, being the lawyer that he is and the person who demands for his rights, set up a team. I remember my sister Helen was in that team. They were sitting in some hotel somewhere in Kitale, tallying, comparing all the forms. And by the end of it all, they felt that we had been denied our election. So we kept our forms in our house and we said we need to rush back to Mombasa where we lived. We had left the children at home and we said we were now going to put up a petition. So we left this box full of our Form 16As in the house. And while we were heading home, there was a lot of fracas that time. That was 2007. Getting out even was a bit of a problem. But somehow we found our way to Nairobi. We posed at my parents' house, and then we proceeded. But just before we go to Nairobi, we got a call from somebody, and he asked us, do you have anybody in the home? And we asked why. He said, because we have told there are 2 police vehicles, Land Rovers, that are headed towards your home. Said, oh. So they said, make sure there's nobody at home. In the next 1 hour, our home had been raided. Nothing was taken except our nice little box which had our Form 16As. So there went our evidence. We could not petition. Rachel has given you the rest of the story, how determined he was. And I'll tell you, he tried looking for that commissioner. He has not found him until today. Because he really felt he was unfairly treated. Now, those early days, though his friends called him Cheb or chairman, he had these very good friends, Lumatete Muchai and Peterson Semenye, who kept him company in the early years. I used to call him honey, I would call him darling. That is when we had got married. So when Rachel came along, of course the name changed. We became Baba Rachel and Bama Rachel. So the honeys and the darlings disappeared. That's why I decided to have my flower here with honey on it. At least now that the children are grown, I can still call him honey. But honey, I have to call you honey because I'm saying bye to you. I was transferred from Mombasa. I used to work in Mombasa, then later to Kwale. I was transferred because I was outgrowing the station. But because of my family, I did not want to leave. But my bosses at the National Treasury insisted that I had outgrown and I have to move. So I moved to Nairobi. I didn't know how to tell my husband to join me. Because you don't tell a Luya or a Bukusu man to follow you when you are transferred. They will not. So I started by pulling Rachel slowly for her studies in Nairobi. I pulled Jonathan, and then I left Emmanuel behind with him. Emmanuel has given you the story. Because I used to do the cooking. Now there they were, the 2 of them. They didn't want to employ anybody to work for them. And Emmanuel has explained to you how they ate the mud fishes. So with time he knew it would be a matter of time Emmanuel would leave to come for further studies in Nairobi, and then he would be lonely. That is when they made the decision to come and join us in Nairobi. And if they had not come to Nairobi, I don't think they would have established Kuto and Partners, that firm that he established, because then there would have been no need for him to come. He became the managing partner. And other than their company growing in terms of career and everything, That's when now it was easy to do the masters, and it was also easy. It was possible for him now to take up the job as the chairperson of IEBC. We had a lot of, other than playing golf, he encouraged me to take up leadership. Rachel has mentioned it. As for me, I went to the highest level. I became the chairperson of the Kenya Ladies Golf Union, a position he felt I needed to take up. And I thank God for him, because it instilled a lot of leadership skills in me. Now, my husband had this habit of starting a project and throwing it at me. The macadamia trees you see out there, there's coffee somewhere down there, bananas we had done. He just decides, we are going to do this. And then along the way, he says, now you run with it. I didn't then realize, it's only recently it occurred to me, this gentleman was preparing me to take over all these responsibilities. It's only recently, when I had a chance to sit, that it occurred to me that is what he had in mind. Because I have been so strong, I don't know where my strength comes from. But this morning, I almost lost it. I almost lost it, but I have a team of women with me. As I'm giving my tribute, please come forward. Muganda and the team, you know yourselves. Just come and stand here. You will not talk. They have been praying for me. They have been singing for me. And today, usually it's them who insist. Wake up, we are going to pray. Today, I actually talked to them, approached them, and I said, ladies, can you pray? And they prayed. So I was being prepared. Now, my husband is a very generous person. Every birthday, as you have heard in our family, was celebrated. Those younger days, I used to get jewelry for gifts, necklaces, chains, earrings. But as time went by, that changed to buying me phones. The latest iPhone, I'm not an iPhone person, I would go for Samsung. Until now, I'm still a Samsung. But to him, the iPhone was the phone, because he felt he needed to give me the best. I will talk about his surgery. Now, he, as you have been told, and maybe before that, his favorite verse was read out here, and his favorite verse was Mark 8:36, and he loved saying that, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? That is a verse he loved. Maybe before I talk of his illness, I can mention that dreadful day of August 15th, 3 days after Rachel's birthday. It was a hectic period for us, no doubt. I will not go into details, but for me it was divine intervention, because just when he was trying to leave the house, he couldn't leave the house for one reason or the other. We requested, the Archbishop Ole Sapit called in to request him to assist in clearing the protocol processes, so that since he had already decided that he was going to announce the results on that day, Ole Sapit called in to say, Archbishop Ole Sapit, he called in to say, I need you to assist me clear the religious team into the bomas, because the queues are heavy. And when I asked who had called in, because he had received almost 4 or 5 calls before that, and he kept on saying, I don't like these calls I'm receiving. So when I asked, so who has called in? He said it is the Archbishop. He explained what he was trying to say, and I told him, please request the Archbishop to come home. They said, but they're just 5 minutes away. Are you ready to receive guests? I said, yes. So in less than 5 minutes, actually 5 minutes, a team of 14 religious men drove into our compound. They came in, they stood in the sitting room, they said they are not sitting. And I said to them, every morning I pray for my husband. Every morning we stand at the door, and I would say, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your wisdom, that God gives you direction. That started in 2017. I told the Archbishop, today I could not pray. So please, just pray as he proceeds to Bomas. And the Archbishop prayed. They all prayed. I offered them tea so that I could delay them a little, because my husband had come in early in the morning. He had taken a rest and I needed him to, he was still dressing up. And they said, no, we are not sitting. We have prayed, we want to leave. I used the security guards to delay him. Thank you, Mahanu, who was head of our security. He ensured they tried to delay, and the next thing there was a procession to Bomas, and with this gentleman in the middle of that procession. That's how he got to Bomas. The rest you know and you saw. For me, that was divine intervention. Because he came home and he said, I saw somebody point a gun at me. And I think it was the security that pushed him down. And then they took him out. I tried to ring him when the fracas was taking place. Even before the fracas, we tried to reach him. We couldn't reach him because Rachel's friends were telling her, your father is being compromised. We hear he's delaying announcing the results. So when we tried to find out what is happening, we even called upon Sam Gituku. He happened to be airing Citizen Live. I asked him, I got his number, I called, I said, there's something happening at Bomas. Can you put it on air? And he said, I don't see anything happen. In less than a minute, he says, oh my God, I now can see what's happening. He says the only thing he could do for us was to refer us to some human rights institution, because there's nothing more he could do. But we thank him for whatever little that he did. So there was the fracas. I called in. I tried to reach him. I couldn't reach him. Eventually, I got the aide to take the phone to anybody who was around him. The nearest person he found was Bishop Oginde. And I asked him, is my father alive? That's my husband alive? That's all I need to know. He said, yes, I can see he's alive. I say, you are a man of God. Please speak the truth. He says, it is the truth. Your husband is alive. So that is how that day went. Of course, there's so much more to it. If you're interested, you'll have to look for me at another time. But I don't think it's a discussion we really want to engage in, because it was very rough for us as a family. Jonathan and Emmanuel were not in Nairobi, yet people kept on coming in and telling the aides, the brother is here, he wants to come in. But we thank the security that we had on that day. So this handsome gentleman of mine, I will not go into the story. You were told about the first surgery. When that first surgery, the first diagnosis took place, there was discussion to have the surgery done in Nairobi. It was the doctors in Nairobi who had recommended that he could go to Germany. And they are the ones even who arranged for us, because they said, much as it can be done in Kenya, the problem is the equipment we have. The one in Germany is much better. So to fast forward, after his first surgery, his second surgery, then that's when he started becoming a bit weak. And eventually he was admitted on the 9th of December. When he went in on 9th December, he was not going for admission. He was going for a review for an MRI. Unfortunately, they said he needed to be admitted. He stayed in, and just when he was about to be discharged, he picks a hospital infection, so they can't discharge him. So the time that when we kept on trying to get the doctors were willing to discharge him, but just when they're about to discharge him, when he's getting better, they find he has an infection in the chest or an infection here and there. So eventually he was discharged, and he was discharged to palliative care. At this point, he was not speaking. And at that point, a Right Honorable Speaker had visited him in the ICU. At that point of ICU, he would have movements. He would respond with his hands or his eyes. And also we received a visit from the governor of Trans Nzoia, who also visited him. Again, that time, he was now really getting down. So, because he stayed in hospital for so long, he stayed in hospital the whole of December. His birthday is on the 22nd, as you can see. We celebrated his birthday there. Then on the New Year, Christmas, we were all together with the family. We celebrated Christmas with the children and his caregiving team in the hospital. But for the New Year, the children needed to go and celebrate. And I told them, go ahead, leave me with your dad. So I slept with him in hospital from the 29th, 30th, 31st, and 1st. Because now we never gave it a chance. We always had shifts as children and as myself. We never left the chairman alone from the day of his first surgery. We always had shifts. And that's why I'm saying even in Germany, Emmanuel stayed the longest because he's self-employed. The rest of us would go for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and that cost a lot in terms of fare. So as I proceed, I just want to say that it's been very difficult to write this tribute. It's not easy to put it together, but I can't say so much. As I proceed, I am requesting Dr. Samson Oyugi to please come forward. I want to say that the strength I have is because of the visits, the number of visits we have received. Politicians seated here who are visiting. Right Honorable, you had no choice. You are my nephew. So you are always there, and we thank you for that. The MP for Kwanza, Ferdinand Wanyonyi, if you are here, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for allowing us to come. We were there on Thursday because my father-in-law insisted that he wanted his son to be taken to his home. Ferdinand, thank you very much. We are very grateful that you made it possible. And not only that, we refused to allow politics. We said we just wanted to mourn with my mother-in-law and the siblings, and we did mourn. Yes. And we had a good session with the pastors, the Church of Elimu, the bishop. We are very grateful. So after that, we proceeded home. So I must say, those visits, Mheshimiwa Busai, you were with us. You gave us a good reception. You've been with us. You even visited Nairobi. Also Ferdinand visited Nairobi. And many of you politicians came home. You came home, and I believed when religious people kept on saying, they would come and say, your husband, your father is going to give a testimony. He's going to give a testimony. He will recover from this illness and he'll give a testimony. Dr. Oyugi, you were one of the people who kept on saying, he will give a testimony. I think this is the testimony we are being talked about, because we were wondering, Rachel would ask, but if Daddy is not talking, then how will he give the testimony? Let me tell you, that's what kept us driving, Your Excellency. That's what kept us going, because we were told he's going to give a testimony. Because of the position he had, we had to cut off many of our friends. We had to cut off a lot of the social life. So when we were told he was going to give a testimony, we didn't understand how he was going to do it. I have come to meet so many of you whom I had never met before. Some of you came home. I had never met you. Some of you couldn't get me home, and you called in, yes. And I'm very grateful. That's what has kept me strong. And my prayer is, please continue praying for me and my family to keep us strong. I can't leave the stage without mentioning that, Your Excellency, you gave me, in this process of the chair, I acquired 2 daughters. One is Susan Nahomicha. I will not ask her to come forward because she spoke yesterday. Thank you very much. You sent her to me the day you learned that we had a problem with Professor Hainga also. And I also want to thank Professor Hainga. When my father-in-law was sick, I learned of it around 1 a.m. I called Professor Hainga, that was the other day, and I said to him, my father-in-law has a wound that is giving him trouble as a result of a road accident. You may not have known that when my father-in-law was coming to Nairobi, just before Chairman passed on, he had a road accident. I had not been informed he was coming, so when I called, just to call, and I'm told he's had a road accident in Eldoret. In that accident, 3 people lost their lives. But my father-in-law, I thank God for him. He came out well, but later it was discovered there was an injury on his leg, and apparently an infection set in. Professor Hainga is an expert on wounds, so when I called him, he called the hospital that night, and he has been following up on his case. And he assured me that he spoke to the surgeons of Cherengani, and he's comfortable with the quality of the doctors that were there. So thank you, my daughter. Social media gave me to her. It's the only thing social media has done to me, positive, to give me a daughter. The rest of the time they have bashed us, they have attacked us. But there's one thing Chairman said to us: ignore those people, just ignore them. They've killed him so many times. In fact, every time I get so many calls coming in, I know social media has killed my husband. So I just go cutting off and saying, he's okay, he's okay, he's okay. And everybody says, oh, thank God, we were actually inquiring, what is this we have read? So social media has really not been fair to us. Now that he has rested, I hope they will give us some peace. It has been so difficult. Initially, I didn't have it as rough because I used to trade under the name Mrs. Wanyonyi because I found him as Wanyonyi and Company Advocates. But social media thought I was hiding the name Chebukati. Even, Mr. President, when I went for vetting, an MP walked in and said, during vetting, why are you not using your husband's name? Why are you hiding your name? I said, I'm not hiding my name. The man is called Wanyonyi Wafula Chebukati. So I am Mrs. Wanyonyi. So he was very surprised that I have, in fact, the chair of the committee made a joke and said, this lady is having 2 names of her husband. How many of you here even, the wives even carry 1 name? I can see some of you smiling, Senator King. So, I must say, he has protected us. He told us, wachana na social media, when you see any bad report, just look at it that this person is making money. Ignore. Wachana naye. Yeye anatengeneza pesa. Na anatengeneza pesa kukutumia. So if they want to continue making money, let them talk about the good things that I have had. The tributes that have come out. If there's anybody who knows Chairman, it is IEBC. They had a big ceremony. They requested for 3 hours. We gave them 3 hours. They did a beautiful candle. And they will, I don't know if they'll have a chance to talk, but those are the people who know the chairman. If you say chairman is stone-faced, you don't know the chairman. Chairman talks more than I do. I'm said to be chatty, but he chats more than I do, and his friends will tell you. And I think they have alluded to that. The other daughter, Mr. President, you gave me is a lady called Rose Wanja. I don't know if she's in the house. She must be around. Rose Wanja started the journey of taking the chairman to Germany. She's the one who organized our trips and ensured that we got to Germany. When we came back the second time round, Your Excellency, I don't know whether she was the one to do it, she came in and she assisted. In addition to the team that you had at the office of the President. So, I will take this opportunity to also thank the doctors who started the journey, Dr. Warshaw, Dr. Kureshi, or Mr. Kureshi, Dr. Magoha, Dr. Kiare, Dr. Silverstein, and Dr. Kahuho. These people came out for him. Even when we were giving up, they were giving up. It is us who encouraged them, and they came back. And they kept on saying, it is you people who have made us what we are in terms of chairman. Because chairman was resilient. He decided he'll remain strong. He did not respond the way other patients respond. And the doctors were very surprised. And they attributed that to the backup that he was getting from home, which is true. We stopped at nothing. And that's where I can thank my commission of revenue allocation and the staff, because sometimes I would have to adjust programs if we were supposed to travel far. I would insist, no, can we have these meetings in the boardrooms? So they sacrificed their per diems so that I could have meetings in headquarters. I really thank them. I cannot sit down without thanking the Honorable Speaker. You even visited him. You went all the way to Germany to see him. These children of mine you see here are the force behind Chairman's long stay, because they were there. Rachel came up with a timetable and we all had to adhere to it. And it worked, and we gave him extra time. If you go and Google glioblastoma, it's 4 to 6 months. Chairman did 21 months. That is because of the support. But again, you need to be able to have a good medical team. Your Excellency the President, I stand here to sincerely thank you. You gave the chairman his extra months. You gave the chairman, you gave him, you allowed God's report to be honored, because the doctor's report, we already knew it. At the back of our minds, the doctors kept saying, one day at a time, one day at a time. We knew, but we kept going. We kept going. And when news came that he's going to give a testimony from all the religious people, I thank my pastor, Kilonzo. These are people who are in my alumni group. Susan, people, the alumni of Kenya High School. These are people who used to pray. Bishop Mutali, Brother Ferdinand, they prayed, and they prayed for us. That's what kept us going. I also want to thank those who visited home. I want to thank every hour. I couldn't even write a tribute. I had no time. Because you try to move, a team is coming. So a team, they came up with a schedule. Actually, I felt like I was now in some proper state office, because there was a schedule. And if you came late, like the day the judges came, they came late. And then, thank God, it was the politicians coming next. And you know how politicians are impatient. So they managed to assist us with that program, because now the judges realized they're under pressure, so they had to leave. So that is how we were operating in Nairobi. So there was hardly any time to do anything. I want to thank Kenyans that have come out for us, our friends, our relatives. The team that you saw singing here are called Akili Nimali. Those are children of my cousins, my mothers. They are my first cousins. They have been so supportive. I want to pull out Engineer David. Engineer David, please, as I speak, come forward. Engineer David Muchilwa, I'm sure he's somewhere out there. Please come forward. David Muchilwa once worked as acting Director General of KERA, and his father and my mother are brother and sister. The other Muchilwas are also there. Another one I pick out is Vera Umrambi. Vera is here. So these two were our liaison between the two committees, the Nairobi committee and the Kitale committee. You have done a wonderful job. David, I don't know whether you'll now get any sleep, because you've not been sleeping. Your body must be tuned to be a 24-hour body. We had the Kitale committee. I know this may come out in vote of thanks, but I want to give personal thanks to Engineer Kute, who was heading the Kitale committee. Please come forward. You will not speak because of time. I thank you and the team. And when I'm told Madam got unwell, you handed over to your vice, Muliro, and he did a very good job. I thank you for that. So Mr. President, you called me to give me condolences, and you asked me, how are things? Are you okay? How is your budget? And I said, if I was to have chairman's guests alone, I would have managed because of my friends, the support from my friends and relatives. And if your relatives are the speaker here, then you shouldn't have a problem, and other politicians. But because today the guests may not be mine, I may have a problem. Much as I've received so many bulls, even yesterday I received one from the governor. Speaker, you've given us almost 3 bulls already. The president said, leave it to me. So today, you are the guests of the president, not mine. Yesterday, you were my guests, right from Wednesday, Thursday, yesterday, until this morning. Thereafter, you are in the hands of the state. We cannot thank you more. Because to come up with this, the kind of people, I mean, when you come to stand, you will see what is happening out there. It stretches all the way beyond the tent, left and right. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. On behalf of my family, I know it has not been easy for us, but we stand encouraged. Those of you who have been giving us promises of how you will visit us, we have received so many gifts, milk, bread, sugar, everything. It's still there. Please come and visit us and keep on encouraging us. That is all we require from you. May God bless you.
Let's appreciate Mama Mary even as she takes her seat. Yeah, thank you.